Call meeting to order. I'll have to pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Voigt. Zuber.
Here.
Bruner.
Here.
English.
Here.
Farnham. Jennings.
Here. Claims for the county. We have a motion to approve them.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. County board member claims.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Public comment. Seeing none. Oh.
That's good, Ben. Excuse me, that's good, Chairman, I appreciate that. Two meetings ago at the study session, Mr. Wells was present, and I asked during that meeting, Mr. Wells, did I in any fashion, something to the effect, harass you at the airport? And do you recall his answer? Anyone? His answer was no. Okay. The statements that I've gotten from the investigation are rather interesting. One of them confirms, the person says, I can't say that I was harassed, that was Mr. George Wismet. Wimsett is the name on his statement. He was not harassed by Robert Bogue. Lisa Gill's statement is rather disturbing, though. At approximately 8:20, Rob Bogue, Kirk Allen, and John Kraft came to the airport and started harassing Jimmy Wells. Now, you folks heard directly from Jimmy Wells that was not the case. In no way, shape, or form did I harass him. What's interesting with this other comment from Mr. Wimsett, they continued to throw barbs, and Jimmy and Mr. Bogue also had his cell phone out. They continued to throw barbs. I don't know who's throwing barbs. I went out to pick up the boy. It was Lisa that called the sheriff's office, which, by the way, the reason so many people responded so quickly, and we'll have an audio of that shortly, was she is whispering as in the need of help as soon as possible. So they thought something was serious going on out there. She also advised that Mr. Metcalf verbally advised that Robert Bogue is not allowed on the premises of Edgar County Airport. That is a lie. That's her written statement. You can confirm that with Mr. Metcalf, and you can confirm that with Mr. Bogue. She provided false information on that that's very easily identifiable. Mr. Wells' statement, which I appreciate most everything in here, because there's nothing about myself or John Kraft harassing him in any way, shape, or form, contrary to what Lisa Gill said. He was in the lounge having a light conversation with George Wimsett. George asked me how things were going, and I stated pretty well, but he'd probably heard different on the street. About that time, Mr. Bogue, Kirk Allen, and John Kraft walked in. I was giving Kirk Allen a copy of FOIA information that he requested when Rob started talking to George Wimsett. Rob was telling George that I was a crook and should not be running the airport. I was hiding taxpayer money and was involved in a breastfeeding scandal. I asked Rob to not bother George with his issues. To revert back to George's comment, he was not being harassed as was claimed. He said this was public property and he had the right to be and say whatever he wanted. Rob started taking pictures and I asked him to leave. Now, whether Mr. Bogue wants to answer or not, it's up to him. I don't recall a single picture being taken out there. Was there a picture taken out there?
No, sir.
Not a one. So Lisa Gill and Mr. Wells has lied again. He refused and started taking more pictures. Kept making slanderous remarks, at which time I went back in the office and told Lisa to call the sheriff's department. And she did. The documents don't lie. Mr. Wells told you I did not harass him. So where Lisa got this information and where she put this together is completely false. Mr. Wimsett confirms he was not harassed. And I'm asking you folks to please do something what's going on out there. We're at over $85,000 that's been uncovered that nobody in this room ever knew about. Nobody. We've got lawsuits because he won't give records up. We've got information, 1099s the banks say the airport received. He has still not provided that information. Action needs to be taken. 3.5 years ago, my first county board meeting that I ever sat in, I sat on this side and this back corner with your former sheriff, Tim Krippus. And Mr. Keller was the chairman at that time, and he was reading a Department of Corrections report of the disgusting things that were at the jail. And that man sat in that back of that corner, and some of you were here that day, and he said it's all bullshit. And he said that because they just have to find something wrong. That's just what they do. And it was ignored and nothing was ever done. And a laundry list of things have been uncovered that took place during Sheriff Krippus's tenure. And nobody wants to step up and take action. Mr. Wells has done enough that I think everybody can agree. Nobody in private business would ever employ or keep an employee that's done the things he's done. I would just ask that this board step up and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
John,
Can we get copies of that at some point?
Yeah, I can. The police report.
Mr. Chairman, I want to start by thanking the county board for allowing me to speak this morning. I've been attending the county board meetings for, the last 12 or 14 months, and usually I have to read from a piece of paper. Today I've graduated, becoming a better public speaker. And I wanted to talk to you about some things. First, of course, is the ability to speak publicly without reading a script. It's been helpful. It's been a great skill. And I've used a lot of my communication skills lately in discussions with people that want to know about the airport situation. Lately, I've worked with 2 levels of the NTSB over my son's aircraft incident. I've also been in communication with the FAA. I know that you folks believe that and know that. I've been in touch with IDOT, Bureau of Aeronautics, Susan Shea, and Alan Blacknick over issues at the airport. I've been asked to participate in an investigation with the FBI. That was yesterday afternoon. Things have been going on at the airport that are wrong. I cannot understand why no action's been taken. But any one thing would seem to draw enough attention that this board would take some action. If you, I could read the long list of things that have occurred, but I thought it's better just to refer you to Kirk Allen and John Crash website. They have a chronological listing of things, how the Vogue family saw them and experienced them, and they've added their own point of view, and that may even be on a newspaper called The Disclosure. The Beacon News can't print all that because they have advertisers. They're in the private industry. They have to make a living. So whether you see it in the Beacon News or not shouldn't influence your decision on whether it's accurate, what's been said or what hasn't been said. You need to investigate and find that for yourself. So those are the chronological lists. We have provided, John and Kirk have helped me provide the list to Mr. Farnham over the grievances we have regarding the management of the airport. I'm asking you folks to please just do something. You've had a year to do something. you've had longer than a year, this has gone on for a long time. And that it has only gotten bigger. And I understand it will continue to get bigger until things are managed. We're not leaving. And I thank you for listening, because I know sometimes it's hard to listen. But fellas, you really need to fix it, and you can fix it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comment?
I read in the Beacon that the county board is discussing cutting $162,000 from the sheriff's budget. Apparently that $162,000 is still there. It's to be returned if Hopper and Bergen are hired back. I'm not quite sure what that means. I have my own word for that. I'm not sure where the sheriff should make those cuts. As far as I can see, the only place to make those cuts are in staff. I don't know how many people know this, but for this entire county, there are 5 dispatchers and 1 part-time. To answer the phone, to handle 911 calls, all radio traffic, 24 hours a day, every day of the year. There are 4 correctional officers and 1 part-time to man that jail 24 hours a day, every day of the year. There are 5 road deputies and 1 part-time to answer all the calls every day, 24 hours a day, every day of the year. I don't know how you cut that. I don't know how we can get any smaller than what we are. I don't know where your priorities are if you cut that money. Apparently it's not the safety of the citizens of this county. We have money for the airport. We don't have money to protect the citizens of this county. Carl, you more than anyone, and I don't mean to dredge up bad memories for you, but you more than anyone know how far away help is when you need it and you're out there. A few years ago on Christmas, there was 1 road deputy out all by himself on Christmas morning when the subject opened fire on him. And there was no one in this county to go help him. There was an officer from Christmas who was getting off work from his other job, heard the radio traffic and went. I believe there was an officer from Hume who went. A couple PD officers went. How far away? By now they're in Vermilion County. How far? They were so far away. The Vermilion County Sheriff got up and went when I asked for help from Vermilion County. A Vermilion County road deputy wrecked his car trying to get help, trying to get to him to help him. Tim Krippus answered the phone. I told him that shots had been fired at his deputy. He rolled over and went back to sleep and said, "Call me if anything else happens." He did not check to see if that deputy made it through the night until the next morning. There should not ever be a time when those guys are out there by themselves and help is a half hour or more away. But it's been going on for years. And so far we've been lucky. And now you want to cut it even smaller than that? $162,000. The last I heard, and please correct me if I'm wrong, this county gave Dee Bergen $100,000 that's never been repaid. Please correct me if that's wrong. You're worried about the lawsuit, the civil rights lawsuit, the lawsuit when Hopper and Bergen was discharged. If that money is repaid to Bergen, will that $100,000 be deducted from that? It all comes down to we're worried about money, we don't have enough. What happens to that? How many other lawsuits have there been that we don't know about? I can tell you that I guess there'll be a lot more if they're hired back. I've seen those 2 in action, I've worked with them. There is a law firm who's not afraid to take this county on. And I think you all know who that is. I have been accused of being too loyal to this sheriff. There have been some pretty nasty things said about me because of my loyalty. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt Jim, he's gone. You can't hurt my kids, they know the truth. I suspect the people who wrote those things about me are already guilty of the things they accused me wrongly of doing. The people I'm loyal to are the people of this county. I take their calls when they're crying and they need help. I'm loyal to the people I work with, men and women who come to that job every day, all shifts, all weekends, Christmas Day, all holidays, their kid's birthday, their anniversaries, and put their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor on the line every single day. I'm asking you not to cut staff from an already bare bones department.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Last time I was here, I mentioned the airport dying. If it hadn't died then, it's died now. It's been established, I think without any question, that I've been a pilot in Edgar County longer than anybody else by several years. There's a pilot or two that's older than I am, but I haven't been a pilot that long. I got my license in 1946. And I have met a lot of pilots. You wouldn't believe the calls I've gotten the last, I'd say 6 months. Several yesterday. Now, whether this airport stays in business or not is up to you guys. Right now, it might as well be plowed up. I've had one pilot told me, he said, I'm not even gonna fly over Edgar County, let alone stop at the airport. I owned an airplane most of my life, so well, it's been a long time now, since 1984, I guess, when I tore my leg up. But anyway, if I had my airport out there, my airplane out at the airport, it would probably been gone some time ago, but if it wasn't, it would sure have been gone yesterday morning. In my house, there's another airport. And I've heard several other fellows say the same thing. I don't know how you guys are gonna, I know one thing you gotta do. I'm not gonna tell you what you gotta do, but if you don't know what you gotta do, you've got no business on this board. Absolutely none. It astounds me that it's been mentioned before. I can't believe you haven't done something already about it. I'd like to see the airport stay here, but I'll tell you one thing, if it does, it's not gonna be very profitable. And the fellows that I've talked to, and most of these fellows know what they're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Got a quick one. Doesn't the budget have to lay out for 30 days before approval? I believe it does. I don't think it's been 30 days. That's it.
Any other comments? Thank you. Item 7 is a resolution to adopt the annual budget and appropriations and annual tax levies for fiscal year beginning 12/1/2013 and ending 11/30/2014.
You want to mention it, individual levies?
Yes, all levies are included in this, and if anybody would want a levy removed to be voted on separately, it can be. Otherwise, that'll be voted on all in one motion.
Has to be laid for 30 days. Why don't we just table it and wait 30 days and then adopt it? That possibility?
Does that have to be laid over for 30 days?
Well, that's a good question. The finance chairman is not here, but based on what we've done in my tenure, it's been 2 weeks. And I do not like to use the phrase, that's because that's the way it's always been done, but based,
That wasn't a statement of mine, that was a question.
Yeah.
And I have a question, because I know at the study session, it was brought up about the 30 days, and I know
and
Somebody
yeah.
handed you a paper and I don't
Kirk.
know what that paper says.
Yeah, and Kirk, thank you for giving us that paper, and it was part of the local government, and honestly have not had time to read that yet, and getting ready for this board meeting, but we'll look into it.
Is there a problem if we wait 30 days? Does that present a problem if we don't okay it today? We wait another 2 weeks?
I'm not sure about problem or not, but, Augie, do you know if our budget has to be established prior to December 1st
I just think
of the fiscal year? Or can we adopt a budget even if it's not been the 30 days? Can we adopt a budget even though it's not been the 30 days? Then go back later on and amend that budget or formally adopt that budget within the 30-day time frame, which would be probably 2 weeks from now. We know we can do that. Any ideas?
Donald, you got anything, you're not gonna say a word, are you?
I'm gonna sit over here in my corner and not say a word, 'cause I do not know.
I know we can go back and make changes in the budget after it's been adopted, because we've done that in the past.
I guess I'm concerned, I guess I'm concerned, one is if it's supposed to be waiting for 30 days, if we're not fulfilling that, then if we're not fulfilling the fact that we have to have it done before December 1st, then is that going to be an issue because we didn't adopt our budget prior to December 1st?
How about adopting this budget, and if it's not correct, we can take care of it in
When is the
December.
30 days up?
Yes.
Exactly.
My guess is.
Well, from, it'd be December 6th, roughly, because we met on November the 6th.
Could you put the word tentative in it?
Is there any interest in adopting this budget?
Isn't the state's attorney gonna be coming later in the meeting?
Yes, he'll be here.
Right. We will have conversation with him. And do you have that document, or can you find that document?
I can find that document. I don't have it with me,
Right.
but I can put my hands on it very quick.
We'll have discussion with him, and then we can revert back to this later in the meeting.
No. That's the desire of the board.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to find Mr. Isaac and give him a heads up on this so he maybe has time to look into this?
And get that information that you have, Augie. You know where it's at?
That'd be fine. Thank you.
Don?
Item number 8, the resolution, or to approve the successful bidder for property and casualty and liability. Al,
Chairman, several people have worked in conjunction with Bushy Human Resources Center as we tried to bid our general property and casualty for this year. Basically came down to a couple different bidders, U.S. Specialty and ICRMT, which is a trust fund. It will also be attached in here. As far as Bushy went through all this, tried to compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. Some of the issues when we went back and they asked for these two different companies to bid the same thing, they had some issues because they didn't really feel that they did that. So they tried to compare those and do the best job they could as like the different coverages. One of the things when we met at a teleconference last week at our insurance meeting, one of the things was we had some issues on wanting to see if there'd be more for sexual abuse and molestation coverage. And also, we talked a little bit about our professional liability policy, which we had to add through public health to make sure the registered nurses are included and things of this nature. They went back to those agencies and they talked about those things within the framework of that. They're very satisfied, I believe, with the Illinois Counties Risk Management Trust being the lowest proposal, the second lowest proposal provided through U.S. Specialty. What it would amount to in general, right there. Augie, you hopefully have copies of all this stuff, just in case whenever we're ready to do this for real. The total bid from the ICRMT would be $142,340. The total bid from U.S. Specialty would be $174,708. Last year, our bid from U.S. Specialty was $136,483. So using the same company, their renewal bid would have been a 28.01% increase. I believe it's a recommendation of our insurance committee that we would go with ICRMT. This does amount to an increase of 4.29%. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Unless you
That's a motion.
Yes, that would be the motion.
We have a second.
That's the trust.
That is the trust. It's called the Illinois Counties Risk Management Trust. It would be the lowest proposal.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We have a resolution to renew alcohol liquor license number 1 for Andrew Z. Patrick, effective 12/1/13 to 11/30/14.
So move.
Have a second? Roll call on the resolution.
Zuber,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Item number 10, we have a resolution to renew alcohol liquor winery license number 1, Andrew Z. Patrick, effective 12/1/13 to 11/30/14.
So move.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Nope.
Oh, that's the
Resolution.
resolution, now, roll call.
Zuber,
Yes.
Bruner? Yes.
English, Farnum.
Yes.
Item 11 is a resolution to renew alcohol liquor winery license number 2 for Robert E. Morgan, doing business as Castle Finn Winery Incorporated, effective 12/1/13 to 11/30/14. We have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Yes.
Roll call.
Zuber,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Item number 12, no, 11. Yeah, 12. Action on resignation of Michael R. Wright from the Edgar County Housing Authority, effective January 1, 2014. You had a letter of resignation in your packet, and we need to approve that.
Could you read the letter?
My guess is that he's going to resign whether
Yes, I
we
can.
approve it or not.
Mr. Jennings, in the past 16 years, it has been my pleasure to serve as a commissioner on the Edgar County Housing Authority Board. I am retiring from that position, and this letter serves as a notice of my resignation effective January 1, 2014. It has been a pleasure to have worked with the Edgar County Housing Authority staff and board members who have served during my tenure. I appreciate the opportunity to have served the community. Sincerely, Michael R. Wright.
Make that motion.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 13, officers and department head reports. Don, treasurer.
First of all, Mr. Isaac has been handed the piece of paper out of Augie's folder. He looked at it real quick. He says he will continue to review it, research it, and he will try to have an answer, but he said there's no guarantees he will have an answer by the time he comes down here. Okay, as far as the treasurer's office / collector's office, we have completed our tax cycle. I made the final distribution effective yesterday. It hit all the taxing district's bank accounts. After it's all said and done, of the original extended amount countywide, we got 99.645% collected. An even higher percentage if you do by the net extended, which is the amount that, for instance, that certificate of errors adjustments are made throughout the tax cycle. We hit 99.816%, which is very consistent with past years. On the sheet that I gave you, as you can see, where the notes at the bottom, we have paid off the line of credit, which included $894.97 worth of interest. As you can see what the final payment was to the general fund. And of that, $6,500 net amount was from the additional collections / reductions, meaning mobile home tax, interest, and then sale and errors, which are court-ordered refunds. Those were the factors in that. And then I've done the transfer of all penalties and fees that the general fund is to get by statute. And we were hoping to get $45,300, and we got almost $40,000, which in the whole scheme of things is a very good estimate. Okay, one last comment. After today, there should not be any more expenses, any more checks made. Keeping that in mind, the only other expense that should hit our general ledger is payroll on the 29th. I'm conservative estimating this, projecting if we don't get any more money from the state, I would say that we're going to be right around $52,000 better off than how we finished last year. We were at negative $630,000 in even numbers. I project we will be at a negative $578,000. If we were to get the income tax from the state, they are well behind. If we could get August, which is $34,000 by next Wednesday, our last business day before this fiscal year, we could even look better. But I'm gonna be the pessimist and just say the state's written us off for the month, and anything better than that I would like to see us about $100,000 better off, and we could sure hit it with that income tax plus any other additional revenues that might find our mailbox between now and then. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Assessment's Office,
Don't have anything.
ESDA,
Yeah,
Highway
we're lucky.
Department.
County's lucky for not getting hit in this bad storm.
Highway Department,
Yesterday, we received notification from the Department of Transportation that we were selected for the Rail Highway Safety Grant out on the high school road, which is very good news.
And what does that entail?
That is the actual crossing itself. In April of last year, we submitted applications to both the ICC and to IDOT. ICC was to help fund the approach work, and IDOT, the rail safety money, was to fund the actual crossing work itself, lights, circuitry, and the crossing surface itself. The ICC did not select us. Their program announcements were several months ago, which left us to building the approaches ourselves. And after we confirmed that we would build the approaches ourselves, we stayed in the running for the $250,000 of IDOT money for the actual crossing itself. And we found out yesterday afternoon that we were selected.
And we're doing the approaches ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Circuit Clerk,
No, I think we're rolling right along. We skirted having 2 jury trials, so that was good.
And I'm not sure when our next board meeting is, but I want to invite you all to our Christmas party, which will be, I think, Friday, December 13th, 11 to 1, but you will get an invitation also, but I just didn't know if there was gonna be another meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Probation?
I want to report we're fully staffed again and up and running, so things are going good. Thank you.
Animal shelter,
No new news. We're doing good.
have I missed anybody? Yes. County clerk.
Thank you. Next Monday begins the filing period, filing of petitions for the 2014 primary. It's for a week, so Monday, November 25th through Monday, December 2nd. And we will be open late till 5 o'clock on December 2nd. And anybody that files or is here early next Monday morning before 8 o'clock will be eligible for the lottery, if we need one.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you. Committee reports. Carl, would you be interested in starting the committee reports?
Yes, on the building and grounds, Carolyn Brown Hodge has requested to put a sign in the yard for the splash pad. I think here a few months ago, there was an article in the paper about it. And they're starting a project of raising money. They have a major corporate sponsor, and they want to put a sign out here in the yard showing, like the United Way, how much money they've raised, just to make the public aware of it. So Dale and I, we've had discussion, the sheriff's been contacted, and everybody doesn't have a problem with it. So I make a motion that we allow them to put the sign in the yard sometime in the next few days. I guess is what they're planning on doing. So that's my motion.
A second.
It's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we just
notify.
do that?
Notify them that they can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be done.
That works.
I mean, we can make the motion.
We still have a motion unless somebody decides that we don't. Okay. Hmm?
Want to rescind it?
Yeah, you're rescinding your motion?
I guess.
Under duress.
I think that would be, that actually that building and grounds could make that decision.
Yes. I rescind my motion. And I think everybody's aware of the airport, what happened out there, whatever day it was, Monday night, I guess. There's a criminal investigation ongoing, and that's the only thing I'll have to say about that. And I know in the last few meetings, we have had some information on complaints about our airport manager, and whenever I can get people on the committee together when they're off vacation and back in town, we're going to meet and address those complaints.
Anything else?
Nope.
Alan?
One is we talked a little bit about the insurance already. We've been doing a lot of work on that. Hopefully, we're starting to get our, let's say, house in order a little bit more with the resources group, and provide for a little bit of also some risk management issues coming up. Two, Jeff's not here for finance, but I do want to be the Jeff part for right now as a member of that committee, and thank all the department heads and everybody else who's worked together, and all the members of our board who's really tried to put together something. It is not an easy task, and it was, referenced, what do you do, how much money do you allocate here, how much do you allocate there? As Don said, right now we're still, I think you're projecting hopefully 578,000 in the hole. which has been a positive fund balance this year. We were hoping for about 50,000, and that's only through the close working of all the department heads and all the rest of the employees of Edgar County, so I'm sure Jeff would like that part. Also, part of the Mental Health Board 708 board meeting, we just had it this morning. One of the things there is that is a part of the taxation that we have, that we provide mental health services and all sorts of other services. The one group that we actually work with is through the Human Resources Center, is the one that the 708 board contracts those services to. And I would encourage if anybody has any questions about that, either ask ask Ken Polkey over there. It is a service to the whole county, and especially in our county, quite honestly, which is more of a higher poverty county, we're going to have more and more need for that. And so it is an issue there. Mentioned very briefly the other day, or didn't turn in very briefly at the study session, a part of us being a member of the workforce area 23. Part of that then gets involved, it's called the Super Coalition, with 5 or 6 junior colleges that have tried to come together, and they've tried to meet the needs of manufacturing. This is very especially important now, as it's been announced here in Paris that we're going to have about 300 new jobs coming in pretty quickly. Then as a part of that, the junior colleges have tried to go directly to a company like NAL and said, what do you need for that? And they're going to try to provide those issues for that. Whatever they need, they're going to try to provide that to NAL. Students will be able to go in there and get whatever they need, hopefully, and be eligible for those jobs. And also as a part of that Super Coalition, then I went up to the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Development. Several people from a 7 or 8 county area in the Illinois region, Eastern Illinois region, shared with Dan Seals, who is either the associate or the assistant director for the whole state. And they were very frank and very open and honest about why it's sometimes tough to start businesses and keep businesses in Illinois. But the discussion was there as doing a better job of selling Illinois. And that's what I'd kind of like for us to do even in Edgar County. Of course, we have issues all the time. I'm not saying that at all. But if we actually want, I'll be unbiased in saying that, yeah, I'd like of those 300 people coming in Edgar County, I hope they find a place to live here in Edgar County. And that's one of the reasons I brought up the idea of maybe some additional housing. And I brought that up with the Illinois Department of Economic Development also. It's great to have different jobs coming in the community, especially in those numbers. But we need to also look at infrastructure, and we also need to look at housing for those. And I think that's it.
Thank you. Dale?
The courthouse clock has been repaired. We had a house meeting this morning, nothing new to report there. I kind of second the thoughts of Alan. We both attended the NAL meeting, and I would just encourage the city and PEPCO and the county to do whatever we can to keep these people in Edgar County working and living there. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Sam?
Met with Andrew on Monday for the animal shelter. Everything appears to be running smoothly. We had one person in the county complaining about the barking dogs. I think we basically took care of that the best we could do. We still don't have an ordinance, so it's kind of hard to enforce anything without an ordinance. We are working on some other things out there, and hopefully we'll get those done. But I'd like to compliment Andrew on the job she does. She does an excellent job out there for your system. Thank you.
Thank you.
One comment on the clock. I noticed yesterday when I went by, the one on the northwest corner is not working properly. Yeah. And Bob said they'll have to come back over here and work. He was gonna take a look at it and see if he could maybe figure something out, but he's not sure that he can. But the one that they worked on the other day, it's working fine. The others.
Is the arm crooked on it or something? I know this sounds bizarre, but if Gary could well attest, they didn't plan on the part of, there's also a screw that goes into the bottom, and they're just held on by screws that screw in tight around that base. So I didn't know if it looked like if the arm is kind of crooked because.
No, it's way off. It's more than just that.
Okay, it's not the time, it's the time more so than.
Somehow.
Okay.
We have a maintenance agreement with that company, so I'm sure Bob will take care of it.
Anything else? This time, I think the state's attorney's recommended that we have a closed session with him to give us updates on, is that right? Closed session to discuss appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, and dismissal of specific employees of the public body in pending litigation.
So moved.
And we could possibly have action afterwards on the budget resolution.
Dawn, you gonna get the camera? All right, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I've got a copy of the statute that we're operating under. I'll read 55 ILCS 5/6-1001 from Chapter 34, Paragraph 6-1001, Section 6-1001, Annual Budget. In all counties not required by law to pass an annual appropriations bill within the first quarter of the fiscal year, the county board or Board of County Commissioners, as the case may be, shall adopt each year an annual budget under the terms of this division for the succeeding fiscal year. Such budget shall be prepared by some person or persons designated by the county board, and such budget shall be made conveniently available to the public to public inspection for at least 15 days prior to the final action therein. The vote on the budget shall be taken by ayes and nays and entered on the record of the meeting. The annual budget adopted under this act shall cover such a fiscal period of 1 year to be determined by the county board of each county, except as in hereafter provided, and all appropriations made therein shall be terminated with the close of said fiscal period, except as hereinafter provided. Provided, however, that any remaining balances shall be available until 30 days after the close of the fiscal year in the counties with a population of less than 100,000, and until 90 days after the close of the fiscal year in counties with a population of more than 100,000 but less than 3 million inhabitants, only for the authorization and payment of obligations incurred prior to the close of said fiscal period. Any county which determines to change its fiscal year may adopt a budget to cover such period greater or less than a year as may be necessary to effect such change, and appropriations made therein shall terminate with the close of such period. With the reading of this that we operate under.
Mr. Chairman, as I'm understanding that, you're talking about that as local government and what
This is-
John or Kirk, they,
This is county.
county government, and what were they referring to then, or what was mentioned, John said at one time, I think, was that municipalities or what?
Yeah, it was municipalities, more of the local government.
The local government then was defined in that statute as counties, municipalities, it listed all the different under that.
What you were talking about was the annual budget, what, in reference to the levies. Are you saying
Yeah, that's what, right.
it's, includes levies?
That's what, yes, you'd be laying over for people to see, correct.
And that one says 15 days.
Yes, so this is what we're operating under, and if we're not correct, we will find out, but based on this.
Okay, if that's what you guys think is right, I mean, because I think we went through all the budget part. I don't know that anybody else has major things. If that's what you feel is right, and if that's what we truly operate under, I guess I would move for that resolution.
Can I ask one question, Kirk, first? Is that possible? Ask Kirk a question? As do something in the budget we brought up at the workshop on Monday morning.
I,
Do what? I didn't hear the question.
Could I ask Kirk a question that he brought up on Monday morning concerning the budget?
I don't know why, it doesn't bother me if you wanna ask a question, I guess.
Monday morning, you mentioned something about have we approved the sheriff's part of the budget? Is there a reason why you asked that question?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I just wondered.
You want me to elaborate, or?
Well, I don't know, I just wondered.
It didn't have to do with this issue at all. It was a
Okay.
separate
All right.
issue.
Okay. I just thought, I was kind of curious on why you asked the question. Maybe they didn't remember the question that you asked.
Yeah, the statute outlined recommendations for the sheriff's budget. I didn't know whether you folks had recommended a budget for him,
Yeah.
because the very next section outlines a required appropriation of his obligated duties, which may become a problem if he can't fund those duties because of what the board's done, then there's not compliance with providing the appropriations.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go ahead and move to, as a resolution, to adopt the annual budget and appropriations and annual tax levies for fiscal year 12-1, 2013, and ending 11-30, 2014, kind of based on what you said, I think we're operating under.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We'll have a roll call.
Zuber,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Resolution carries. Is there any other business to come before the meeting? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a second. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?